Hey, what's up everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I figured I'd do a therapy session. I do not know a damned thing about what is going on in places that really need my attention. And I care about these things a lot. And so I just, live with the fact that my voice could be used better, but my brain just doesn't have the information, and my temperament is not one that is curious enough to go off and find out about each and every problem in the world so I can bring it back to you guys and make you aware. I'm not that kind of smart, to be honest with you, but I do have that kind of heart. So before I get into my therapy session, I just want everybody to go get very aware of what is about to happen in the country of Iran, because I just read something and it's one of them things where it's like, yo, this is one of those things where I wish I was smart enough to be knowledgeable so I can come up here and say, hey everybody, this is what's happening, this is how you get informed, this is how you make your voice known. But they're about to do something really bad over there, man, from what I just read. So it's time to get some information in your heads about the protest there and what they're about to do to the protesters there in Iran, or Iran, for those who don't understand what I'm trying to say. It's something to be aware of, it's something to understand, and it's something to get active about right now. So everybody who follows me, please Google Iran or Iran and see what's up with the protest situation there. Do that for me. Get up and get involved on that. I'm finding out about things that I have no idea about. I told you guys that I'm just trying to get curious, become curious about stuff that I just don't know nothing about. So I read up on what was going on in the Palestine-Israeli conflict. I don't know enough to say, hey, do this, do that. But what I can say is I'm going to do my best to become knowledgeable so I can have something to say that makes some sense. But I want people to understand where my heart is versus where my head is. You know what I mean? As intelligent as I want to be, and as knowledgeable as I want to be, I understand that there are many levels of research and many levels of understood paths to take when it's time to be an activist, or when it's time to step up and be knowledgeable, or when it's time to say, hey, yo, we need to stop something. You want to know why they're doing something. You want to know that what you've read is real and true, and what you want to know is that it can be stopped before you go sending people off into a depression mission. So that's really what it is. The fact that I don't have enough information to really give you guys an understanding. All I can say is it is time to get knowledgeable about what is going on in Iran right now. And if you can bring more things to the table like that with your platform, I think that's what the good of having this platform in everybody's hands is today. Everybody who has a phone can turn on their YouTube and do exactly what I do, and I don't think there's anything stopping you from doing that. So if you happen to have one of those brains that I wish I had, and one of those hearts that I wish I had, if you follow me in any way, follow this. Use your voice to use your knowledge to share what you know, so that some of us can become knowledgeable about stuff that they don't teach us or tell us about, or what have you. Because there are things going on in this country that they tell us is important. Maybe it's very important, but I think the context of understanding how to appreciate what you have comes from being knowledgeable about what it is that's worse than what's going on with you. That's part of being appreciative. People say, oh, you don't appreciate what's going on in your country. That's because I'm absorbed with what goes on here. And I'm not aware of how much worse it can be in other places, not specifically, just hypothetically. And so there are real specifics taking place. There are things happening in this world that we would cancel people for in our country. And I think our country is a country that it parades itself as the police of the earth. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and assume that I understand all that needs to be done, or all that we can do, whether or not I'm saying we're doing a great job or not. Again, don't think I have enough in my head to know if that's the truth or not. But what I can say is there's always room to strive to be more, or do more, or what have you. And I think that's where we need to be. I see there's a hole in my knowledge and my understanding as it pertains to certain foreign affairs, and I don't think that that's a topic that is too smart for my brain. I just think that it's not normal for them to market those things to me. I think it's more normal for them to market things to me like sports and entertainment and things like that are easy for my mind to absorb. But here's why that norm doesn't make any sense to me. Because words are words. When I have to read, I'm reading. Whether I'm reading about sports, whether I'm reading about stuff I like, whether I read about stuff that I'm not interested in or what have you. So to condition the mind to appreciate something and then read that and not consider it reading, and then to turn your head to a book that has something in it that maybe you need, and to look at that and become frustrated because you have to read, is a condition of the mind that we've learned to adapt to, a lot of us. I think it's one of those things that's in place so that the value of going to school and seeking a higher education can actually be in place. Because if you had it in your heart as a regular person to be a researcher, then you would understand that seeking higher knowledge in that way only holds but so much value, because at the end of the day, what you're going to get the most out of is your own curiosity and research in life. Yes, they will teach you how to structure that in your head so that you'll seek that knowledge, so that you'll be used to research, so that you'll be used to doing homework and what have you. And that is a very, very, very valuable skill that not everybody has, including myself. It's not a skill that I have. And it hurts us. It hurts us bad. But I think it's not something that we have to look at the same way. One of the reasons why I don't have that skill is because I've turned my head and conditioned my head to study and focus on the things that I like and am passionate about. That I chose to be passionate about these things is things that I'm realizing I may not have chosen myself. Because my heart says I love this, and this. But my norms and what I'm used to has never, ever catered itself to what it is that I actually am about. And I realized I didn't coerce myself into those rhythms at all. I had people teaching me how to think from the moment I came into this earth. They were giving me little things, just like every other little kid. You know, they teach you the spelling bees, they teach you all these different things. They teach you how to think. They teach you how to structure your rhythm as a person so that you can be normal, right? But within those things come certain things that they deliberately leave out of your structure, that you only get in certain spaces, depending on where you're at, depending on how much they care about your environment, depending on how much they care about you and your people, I think, it seems. So if I grew up in, say, I know this low-hanging fruit because of the conversation, but let's say I grew up a Jewish person, probably have different norms, different research habits based on the structure of education that was put into my life and the type of things that are structured toward me in regards to making sure that I'm knowledgeable and habitual in that way, right? As opposed to someone maybe in my community who was raised differently, who, you know, school was just like a different type of thing, to where, yeah, you go to school and it's important to you as it is to you, but in your household, maybe you don't have that structure telling you, hey, this is what needs to be done in order for you to function properly in the world, in order for you to be knowledgeable in the world. This is what habits you want to, have as a child, as opposed to it being a disciplinary thing. You must do homework. You must do this. It's something that takes you away from what it is that otherwise you are being pointed at, which is entertainment, sports, low frequency stuff that ultimately you're supposed to be attracted to as a person of color. These are things that I happen to understand. And now as I grow as a grown man trying to undo a lot of this stuff, I realized a lot of this stuff wasn't put there by myself. I didn't put this there. Video games were in my life, eating up hours of my life before I realized that time was something that was to be wasted or taken care of. Before I realized that time was something to be precious of, I was wasting it habitually, picking up norms and rhythms that otherwise mold who I ultimately became. So now when I sit up here and I say, hey, go figure out what's going on in Iran, I don't have the habit of being somebody who could say, look, and I've been doing the homework all this time, and now I know this, and this. As to which my heart and head, the way I've learned myself to be, would otherwise have made myself that without any help from anywhere. Because that's what I naturally am. And see, this is the thing, it's like, wow, like, I get to 38 years old and realize that half of the stuff that you're about is not stuff that you actually would have chosen if you were in control of your own upbringing. It's like, because my mind tells me this. Like, I look at myself as a person, as a grown man now, I'm like, all the things that I was told that I loved as a child in terms of meals and things that I want to eat, I'm repulsed by those things. Naturally. The free thinker mind, I don't want none of that stuff. You know how I equate some of those foods? Like putting a gun in my mouth. Like literally, that's the logic I see when I see somebody like some of the Carl's Jr.'s, not to point out their company, God bless those guys, but like everybody who sells food that ain't no good for the body, even though it's supposed to be pleasurable for the taste, right? So I was raised to love McDonald's. I was asking mama to send me to McDonald's and get us drive through the drive-through before I realized that there was something that needed to be going in my mouth in order for me to live. Like I just wanted it because everybody else wanted it, and daddy take me there when, you know what I mean? So it's like you start to want certain things and not want certain things before you realize that there's something for you to want. Before you realize there's an identity to develop. And so as a consumer, I realized, I suck at research because I was pointed at different things based on the box I was in. Not to say that it wasn't on my mom to kind of point me away from those things, which she did, which is why I grew up to say these things now. But like, all in all, I think we have to unlearn certain things, and we realize, certain people were taught certain things. They were taught certain things based on those agreements in those groups, based on how certain entities treated their groups and their environments. So it's like, if we're going to get on each other for being whatever it is that you don't agree with in regards to each other, we need to understand that a lot of us have been coerced into being the way that we are, very based on those things. So if we're going to not be that way, it's going to take some hardcore internal due diligence to undo some of those things, and it's going to be hard to do. And so that's what I'm starting to realize. The McDonald's, the Coca-Colas, all these different companies, Sony's and Nintendo's and all that, they help mold the norms that I had and gave me agreements that I wanted, that I now have to unlearn in order to become a person that's more knowledgeable in the way that I think I should be. The intellect that I believe that should be in my head, it's pointed in directions that otherwise has to be undone. I got to use my smarts to undo bull crap as opposed to what it is that ultimately comes naturally, is what I'm saying to you. I spent the last couple of years of my life understanding that, trying to undo those things on my own. And it's like, you come to a space in your life where you realize, damn, like I didn't go to school not because it wasn't good for me, but because it was something that just by way of those other agreements just happened to be something that I equated I should stay away from because of those agreements. But I come to realize that, like, I didn't want to go to school a lot of times because I was involved with playing video games. I wanted to spend more time doing that. And in doing that, I wasn't being active, running around doing stuff that would otherwise make me feel better as a person physically, right? Getting fat, getting unhappy, and then from there, the insecurity and the overthinking from being unhappy just drove me into a space where I did not want to be present with anybody. So it's like a lot of this stuff just, when you have a brain like mine, it needed not be pointed at certain stuff like that, is what I'm coming to understand. It's like, I needed none of that. I needed all that gone so that this overthinking brain could have been pointed in directions that could have developed the right habits. So that when those habits are in place, I can now have my intentions and my habits and intellect back up what it is that I otherwise want to be. See, these are things that I don't think everybody in every group everywhere has this experience, because I don't think that a lot of people have an awakening where a lot of the things that they're about, they realize they didn't want to put in their head. It wasn't who they were. And I truly believe a lot of the agreements that are in place for certain people so that everybody functions very well within these systems, which is why it works. I think what you've seen is trial and error in terms of how people have handled people. So this is how they found works for the majority of people. Funnel them through the school system, you funnel them through the corporate system, you funnel them through the jail system if they don't handle that well. These are rhythms of handling people so that people aren't cutting each other up and sending each other into different crazy positions, right? It's how people stay in place. Problem is, you get brains like mine every once in a while who must travel outside of that algorithm in order to function properly. That's what I've come to understand. It's like this is one of those situations where it's cookie cutter, it's copy and paste. All humans go through the human system. All right, this is what you do. You come out of your mama and you go straight through human school, and you come out a good human being, and then from there your agreements go along with other humans and you can function. Except for certain people who think a certain way, you know what I mean? And then when they come into the earth and they be a part of all this, it's like They cannot function. They're not meant to function in all of this. They're meant to do other things and work in ways that just are not represented in the way the human scale works, the human system. So I can't go through the human school. I'm gonna come out a duck. That's basically what I've learned. Like, you put me through that system, and I'm coming out a lot worse and a lot different than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, that's what happened to me. All this time, it's like, couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. Why am I this? Why am I that? Why am I feeling this? Why am I feeling that? And then when I open my mouth, I'm like, I'm not thinking like the rest of these folks. I don't think like them. I don't talk like them. I don't put stuff together like a lot of people. So it's like, all right, where do I find the confidence that I'm all right? Why am I to look at myself as someone who is okay? If for not the fact that I have a relationship with God that allows me to see, see myself as a decent person worth working on, right? I start to realize, man, ain't nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. It's just that there's a world I'm in that I'm not supposed to be in at all. I'm not meant for this time. I'm meant for a time where people are not focused on right now. And that's what I've come to learn after all that I've gone through. Is that the key to me is that everybody's focused on the present. And I'm always thinking about something else in the clouds, 10 steps ahead of that, 11 steps around that. Often looking for misdirection, often looking for people who are doing things they ain't got no business doing, often looking for people who are, that kind of thing. So it's like when I look at something, I'm not just looking at it, I'm looking at what's around it, and because of it, it makes it so that I'm an overthinker. So for those who funnel their way through the system and they're awful different, I don't think that's a cookie cutter thing either, as to where everybody different can't fit in the system. I don't think that. I just think that I'm like that. You see what I'm saying? I think there's been many a different type of person who still can go through the human system, so to speak, go through the human school of things and still be just fine or find their way or what have you. But then you'll have the certain minds that they'll deem mentally health issues, people, mental ill, whatever words they want to use. And a lot of times those people do have deficiencies in some areas, but they're only deficient as it pertains to the norms that are in place that probably shouldn't be anyway. They're not good at the stuff that ain't no good, truthfully. So that's what I've come to learn about myself. A lot of stuff that people do that I don't do are things they probably shouldn't be doing. That's what I've learned. Spending their time out there going crazy over very little amounts of money while the people above them make money on top of money. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, that's what needs to be done. But it don't come naturally to me for a reason. And the reason why it don't come naturally to me is because in my little quest of figuring out why the hell everything is the way it is, I find out everybody's being cheated. Like the whole world's being cheated. When they go to work, they're literally being cheated out of their wages, no matter who they are, no matter where they are, because of where the money is sourced and how things are being worked in that way. So it's like, okay, so that's why my spirit was against stuff that should have came naturally to me, because that stuff was bullcrap for the times we're living in. And then people are going to find that out probably before I die. So it's like, okay, so that's why God made me the way he did, because he wanted me to kind of be ahead of certain things as it pertains to certain things he didn't want my spirit to be a part of. They bumped my spirit for a reason. Why? It's because it's time for those things to change. That is why. And 38 years of life of fighting with the norms, I've come to realize why they don't vibe with me. But I seem to be always trying to connect with the one who created me for interest beyond what it is that I understand. Like when I pray to him, he comes to me and tells me not to do things that make sense to the world I'm in. Why is that? And I fight with that and I get frustrated with that. But every day, one day comes and I just am okay the next day, and it's like I shouldn't be, not the way this is. None of this should be okay. But it's like when you connect to God and he made you a way for a reason, and that way is against the ways of the world, and you start seeing the world change, it's like, okay, so the environment is actually going to start to mold to fit what it is that he made me. That's exactly what this is. I don't really have to do nothing but be who it is he wants to be right now. And when it's time for the world to change around me, it will. So it's like, if that's what this is, I just need to continue working on the stuff I'm doing and let it be what it's going to be. But if that ain't what it is and I'm mistaken, then either way, something great's going to come out of it, because I've been doing a lot of great stuff in this apartment over the last 2 years, trying to figure out all of these things I've been describing. So it's like, yeah, man, some of the stuff that comes naturally to everybody, like, for example, selling your stuff. Very difficult for me for some reason. All this art, trying to monetize this channel don't come naturally to me. It feels like I'm like I'm shaving my eyebrows or something. I kid you not. And it's like, but everybody's selling everything. Everybody's trying to get rich. Everybody's trying to take the talent that they have and turn it into monetary value so they can enrich themselves and their families and whatever it is they want to do, right? That's what makes the world go round. Money, right? That's what makes the money go round. World. Well, the way I see it is something inside of me, that same thing that hates sweet pickles, you know what I'm saying? That same thing that has a pet peeve about things. That same thing inside of me says, I don't want to put a price tag on anything that the Lord has put inside of me to create. Maybe it's parallel for the Lord being offended by the fact that people put price tags on the things that he created, like us. But something inside of me spiritually, no matter how normal this is on earth, and I'm saying this because I recognize it to be the most normal thing of all normals, but selling what it is that I feel is my talent, it feels wrong. And I can't explain it. It doesn't make sense. It's no different than any other mental illness aspect of my brain. But what I'm telling you is, I feel like I'm putting on a dress when I sell any of my art. And that's respect to anybody who of course dresses the way they want to dress. I'm telling you, that's abnormal to me. That's the point. It feels different, bro. And I don't know why. And I don't make any sense of it. And I don't think I benefit from it. And I just let it be as a part of a flaw in my system, so to speak. So people wonder, like, why aren't you making money after all these things you're doing? That's exactly why. It just, every bit of my soul says you are not supposed to be taken from nobody. I gave you this talent for free. And so how the hell are you going to put a price tag on anything I otherwise gave you? You might as well put a price tag on your arms. Anytime anybody asks you to lift something, you better ask them for $1 to come with it. Put a price tag on your eyes. Anytime you lay eyes on anything, you better put some dollars on it. It's like, where does this end? For every breath you take, you better charge the people around you because it's costing you to, you know what I'm saying? No. In my heart, in my spirit, in my mind, the Lord blessed me with talent. It is not mine to sell. It's not mine to sell, just like my soul. It's not mine to sell. I've been blessed with one. Not everyone has one. Who am I to sell it? And a lot of times when people sell their talent, that's exactly what they're doing. Selling their souls. It doesn't have to be that way, but it is. Because of the people who are in place to effectively buy your soul from you once you go for that selling of your talent. So until I find a way to make myself feel right about what it is that I'm doing in that regard, I'm probably going to be a starving artist by nature. And the sick thing is, because I'm wired that way, it doesn't make me unhappy. It literally doesn't. I say a prayer that allows me to stay in that space. And I might have said this online, but I'll say it here. For the only applause I'll ever need is the beating of my heart from which you are the percussionist of. And every bit of appreciation placed into others given to me is placed into them by you. So I ask that you use me as a means of showing appreciation to others. And God bless my brothers. I ask you place us in the right place at the right time in our right minds to let our light shine and to allow others an opportunity to shine along with us in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, of whom I am a witness in Jesus' holy name. In other words, you don't have to clap for me. You don't have to give me no likes. You don't have to sit up here and do any of the things that people tell you you have to do in order to support me, because I'm already being supported. Every breath I take, every beating of my heart is the applause that I need from any of y'all. That's the God's honest truth. And so as I speak that way, I understand that to be my leverage in life. I'll always have the freedom to say what I want to say so long as I stay true to that. Because the things that are keeping people muzzled are the things that otherwise bind them. Success, their measure of success, poor math. I need to be first. I need to be at the top. That's bad math. You get all the way to the top, you know what happens? You got a long way to fall. No, my friends. No. They told you to go to the top. You don't need to be at the top. God's everywhere. You can be at the bottom and still succeed. These are things that I understand that are not normal around us. They're not normal around us. But it's the truth. Everybody has a role to play. Not everybody needs to be at the top, but everybody's scurrying to the top so everybody's outside of their rhythm. I'm trying to tell you something. We're not supposed to be valuing ourselves more than we value the Lord, our God, man. And I know not everybody believes in God, so forgive me for getting all philosophical. But it's the truth, man. This is what we're coming to. We're coming into a world, I think, where the Lord doesn't want to stay hidden anymore. And I've been saying that for the last couple of days. I truly believe that. I don't think he wants it to be some entity in the sky anymore. I think he wants us to adhere to some truths as humans alive. And I don't know if that's real or if that's just something in the figment of my imagination as well. But I do believe the Lord, our God, whoever that may be, if you don't believe in him, I think the entity that created all of us is trying to communicate with us right now. Everybody who's in the conspiracy theory aspect of the game is looking for either an alien invasion or some World War III or something like that. I think the actual God, I think that's the real conspiracy. He's trying to say, hey, I exist, adhere to some things. I really believe that. And I believe that. And that's one of the reasons why I live this really, really, really unique life where the things that I do don't make no sense, but still seem to be stable, because I'm speaking of this as he is making this happen, I think. And he's showing us by way of various different situations and circumstances that a lot of the stuff that we agree with are flawed. A lot of people who believe themselves to be gods, you're seeing their math fall apart. This is what I'm telling you. It's literally all I'm telling you. It's not even that God has proven himself to be real. It's that he's proven those who walk around pretending to be him to be phonies. That's what he's revealing, to be exact. So it is what it is, man. I'm just going to continue to speak the way that I speak. Hopefully good things come out. Learn and try to be better. Again, everybody go get up on what's going on in Iran. I didn't speak life into what they're doing for a reason. I want people to understand that. I didn't tell you exactly what they're doing because I don't want to speak that into the world. There's real things that can be done. What I do want to say, though, is it can be stopped. It should be stopped. That's what I want to say. And everybody needs to know what's going on so that they don't feel like this is something they can do in the dark. Or this is something they can do while people are just chilling because we are consumers and we don't care about human lives. It's a lie. We were taught how to be consumers. We're going to undo that entanglement. And when we do, we're going to save the world. I believe that. It's going to be black people, white people, American people that use their shiny black, white platform, shiny green platform, whatever you call it, America. The fact that we're the center of the universe in our minds, we're going to use that to actually do a better job of what it is that we call ourselves being, which is the police of the world. We're going to do a better job of that, man. I'm telling you we are. Because we're going to be engaging in better energy than we ever have before. And it starts with this conversation right here. People just accepting and being better. And understanding a lot of stuff is not your fault. You were put on this earth and then you were taught how to be. And a lot of those things coerce you away from being compassionate and loving people for other people's business and other people's, concerns. And so that's what we need to overcome if we want people to care about our business, care about our concerns, protest for what it is that we feel needs to be protested in our groups. And we had better step up. Step up. Don't give me all this energy when it's time to sing about my group and then don't care nothing about what's going on over there. That's not real. That's not real support, because the moment I need support, all I have is my group. That ain't enough. It's never enough. We need more people who are not a part of these circumstances, who don't have nothing to do with this, to get knowledgeable, get active with their voices, and do what they can, man. Do what they can. That's why slavery lasted so long, because nobody knew about what was going on, and if they did, they didn't speak up. They didn't jump out the window and help save somebody they didn't know or care about. And then, because nobody does anything about it, it lasts for a long time. Those who enact it have success, and then it gets done again. Because it worked. So the key is to not make it work. And the key is to know how to not make it work. And this is how. People who are not there saying, yo, I know what's going on over there. Let me tell more people that I know about what's going on over there. That's how it stops. My name is BDF 44. I thank you all for watching.